Imagine watching your best friend, the one who's been by your side through everything, fighting for his life, slipping away right before your eyes. That was Max, a loyal German shepherd who had spent years protecting and loving his owner. Now he lay on a cold veterinary table, his body weak, his breathing shallow. The vets had given up hope. His eyes, once full of life, had faded into emptiness. And then, when his owner couldn't hold back his tears any longer, Max did something no one could have expected. What happened in that moment changed everything, and I promise you, it will bring you to tears. The veterinary clinic was quiet except for the steady beeping of medical monitors. The air smelled of antiseptic, a stark contrast to the warmth and familiarity of home. On the cold metal examination table lay Max, a 12-year-old German shepherd. His once powerful frame was now frail, his ribs faintly visible beneath thinning fur. His breathing was shallow, uneven. The strong, protective dog who had once stood proudly beside his owner now lay silent, weak, fading. Beside him sat Ryan Carter, 41, with short dark hair and tired eyes. He was hunched in a chair, gripping Max's paw with trembling fingers. His throat was tight. His chest ached with the weight of reality. Max was dying, and there was nothing he could do. Dr. Evans, the clinic's lead veterinarian, stood nearby, his expression grim. He had seen this too many times, the moment when hope slips quietly away. He cleared his throat. "Ryan, we've done everything we could." Ryan barely acknowledged him. His eyes never left Max's face, searching, pleading for something. Anything that told him this wasn't the end. But Max didn't move. His once bright eyes stared blankly ahead. His chest barely rose with each shallow breath. The IV in his paw dripped fluids that no longer helped. "He's a fighter," Ryan whispered, more to himself than to the vet. Dr. Evans sighed softly. "I know, but even fighters have limits." The words hit Ryan like a punch to the gut. His mind flashed backward, moments, memories, a lifetime spent together, bringing Max home as a floppy-eared puppy, sunset walks where his ears perked at every sound, stormy nights when Max pressed close, a silent guardian, the low days when life had broken Ryan down and Max had been the only one who stayed. Now, after 12 years of unwavering loyalty, Max was slipping away, and Ryan couldn't stop it. His vision blurred. He ran a hand through Max's fur, barely warm now. He had tried to be strong, tried to hold it together. But the thought of leaving this clinic alone without Max beside him was unbearable. A sharp breath caught in his throat, and then the first tear fell, landing softly on Max's paw. His shoulders trembled as more followed. His grip on Max tightened, as if somehow that might keep him from leaving. "Please, just give me one more sign," he whispered, voice cracking. The monitor beeped slowly. Max's breathing weakened. Ryan felt it. He was watching his best friend slip away. Then, just as the silence became unbearable, Max did something no one expected. Ryan's breath hitched. Max's chest barely moved beneath his trembling hands. The beeping slowed, each tone a countdown to the end. Ryan squeezed his eyes shut. "Please, don't go." His voice was barely a whisper, cracking under the weight of helplessness, and then a twitch, faint, barely more than a reflex. Ryan froze. Had he imagined it? Then another movement? Max's paw. It was weak, but it was real. Ryan's eyes snapped to Max's face. His dog, so still for so long, was trying to move. His breathing, though shallow, steadied slightly, enough to make Ryan hold his breath. Dr. Evans, mid-step, paused, and then Ryan felt it, a brush of warmth against his skin. Max's tongue, just barely, had touched his hand. It was faint, so faint, but it was there. "Max?" Ryan whispered, staring in a disbelief. Max didn't lift his head. His eyes didn't fully open. But his paw twitched again, his body failing, exhausted, was responding to something no one could explain. Ryan looked at Dr. Evans, desperate for answers, but the vet looked just as stunned. A single tear slipped from Max's half-closed eye. His best friend, his protector, was still here, and he wasn't done fighting yet. Just minutes ago, Max had been fading. Now, his paw had moved. His breathing was still faint, but steady. Ryan wiped his face, breath shaky, eyes wide. Max was holding on. Dr. Evans stepped closer, scanning the vitals. "This doesn't make sense," he muttered. "What does that mean?" Ryan asked, barely breathing. The vet hesitated. "It means he's fighting." Ryan let out a shaky breath. That was all he needed to hear. He leaned in, brushing his fingers over Max's fur. 12 years of loyalty. 12 years of love. Max had always known when Ryan was struggling. And now, when it was Ryan's turn to be there for him, Max was still trying. Ryan hadn't moved in hours, hadn't dared. Dr. Evans adjusted the IV, his expression cautious. "We need to be realistic. His condition hasn't changed significantly." "Don't say it," Ryan cut him off. His voice was softer this time. "I know the odds, but I also know him." Dr. Evans sighed, then nodded. "Then we keep watching." Max let out a faint, barely audible whimper. Ryan's heart stopped. It was small, but it was a sound. "Max? Buddy, I'm here," he said, his voice steadier now. Max's ears flicked, ever so slightly. Tears welled in Ryan's eyes, but this time they weren't just from grief. They were from hope. Minutes stretched into hours. Ryan didn't move. He just sat there, holding Max's paw, willing him to stay. And then another movement. Max's tail shifted, barely brushing the blanket beneath him. "You see that?" Ryan whispered, turning to the vet. Dr. Evans frowned, but there was something else in his eyes now. Surprise. "He shouldn't be able to do that," the vet said quietly. "Not in his condition." Ryan looked back down, gripping Max's paw, but he did. The monitors kept beeping. But now the air felt heavier in a different way, not with grief, but with the weight of a fight that wasn't over. Ryan leaned close, whispering, "That's my boy." And then, for the first time since they'd arrived, Max let out a slow, shaky breath. He culled and tried to lift his head. It wasn't fading anymore. Ryan lifted a hand, brushing his fingers gently through the fur on Max's head. "Remember that time you got caught in the river?" he whispered, his voice raw from exhaustion. Max didn't move, but Ryan kept talking. "I thought I lost you that day. But you came back. You always come back." His throat tightened. "So don't stop now." The room fell silent. Then Max let out a deep, slow exhale. Ryan tensed, not because it was weak, but because it was steady. Dr. Evans straightened, his brows furrowed as he studied the machines. "That's interesting," he muttered under his breath. Ryan's head snapped up. "What?" The vet hesitated. Then, after a long pause, he said something Ryan never expected to hear. "He's improving." Ryan's chest tightened, his fingers gripping Max's fur. His best friend, his everything, wasn't done fighting. Not yet. The clinic room remained still, the air thick with uncertainty, but the beeping of the monitor had steadied, no longer the slow, ominous rhythm from before. Ryan barely moved, his eyes locked on Max's frail body, still curled on the table. His breathing was deeper now, not labored. His ears flicked, faint but present, reacting to Ryan's voice. But Ryan knew this wasn't over. Dr. Evans was still watching the monitors, his expression unreadable, fingers hovering over the chart, tapping the clipboard. Ryan's voice was low when he finally spoke. "You said he was improving," the vet nodded. "He is, but the question is, how much?" Ryan swallowed hard, glancing down at Max. "He moved," he said. "He knows I'm here." His voice was stronger now, filled with something that had been missing for hours: hope. Dr. Evans sighed. "I won't lie to you, Ryan. He's still extremely weak, but there's something keeping him here." Ryan exhaled shakily, brushing his hand along Max's fur. "I know what it is." The room felt different now. The crushing weight of inevitability had lifted, just slightly. But it was enough. Ryan sat back in his chair, exhaustion settling deep into his bones. He hadn't noticed how stiff he'd become, his back aching from being hunched over so long. He didn't care. Max was still here. That was all that mattered. He reached out, running his hand gently along Max's side. The rise and fall of his ribs was slow, but steady. Fragile, but it was life. A faint whimper broke the silence. Ryan's breath hitched. He looked down. Max's paw twitched again. His claws barely scraped the table. Stronger this time. Ryan sucked in a shaky breath. "Hey, buddy, I'm here." Max didn't lift his head, but he moved again, just slightly, his body responding to Ryan's voice. Tears burned behind Ryan's eyes. He had spent the last few hours thinking he was going to lose him. But now there was something else. A flicker of what had always made Max who he was. Fight. Dr. Evans stepped closer, eyes scanning the vitals again. "This doesn't make sense," he murmured. Ryan tensed. "What?" The vet hesitated. "His oxygen levels are stabilizing. They shouldn't be. His body was shutting down before. But now—" He trailed off, shaking his head. Ryan's fingers tightened around Max's fur. "He heard me," Ryan whispered. "That's why." Dr. Evans exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. Maybe, or maybe this is just temporary. But Ryan didn't believe that, not for a second, because Max had never given up on him before, and he wasn't giving up now. Ryan wiped his face, blinking back the overwhelming emotion clawing at his chest. "I'm not leaving," he murmured. Dr. Evans nodded. "I didn't expect you to." Ryan didn't move from his seat. He didn't look away from Max, because deep down, he knew Max wasn't done fighting, and neither was he. Ryan's fingers never left Max's fur. The warmth beneath his touch was faint, but it was there. His dog, his best friend, was still breathing, still fighting. The room settled into a heavy silence, broken only by the steady beeping of the monitor. Dr. Evans stood nearby, eyes darting between the machines and Max's fragile body. His fingers hovered over the clipboard, but he wasn't writing anymore. Something had changed. Ryan saw it. He felt it. Max was holding on.